Upon playing Deepwoken for the first time, you'll wake deep in unfamiliar territory. Etris. The townsfolk and guards are friendly, provided you don't break any rules, and thus you'd be forgiven for assuming that Etris is simply your average starting town in your average RPG. However, Etris is concealing a dark secret. Well, concealing would be an overstatement. In fact, it's absurdly easy to discover the truth behind Etris' current rule. A monster wearing human flesh sits upon the throne. This monster, the Lord Regent, fourth prophet of the Ministry, holds complete control over the minds of Etris people, and he knows that you're not under his spell. Let me ask you this question. If a murderous monster settled in your home, sleeping, eating, drinking like a normal human but so obviously different, would you tell someone? What if no one believed you? That, my friends, is the threat of the Lord Regent, an all-powerful dictator who could kill you with the snap of his fingers but chooses to keep you around as his errand boy. In fact, Regent is the driving force behind the story of Deepwoken's newest game mode, Vow of Iron. Within Vow of Iron, Regent's past has been heavily expanded upon, and he's been positioned as the story's final boss, to sum it up simply. Thus, I feel it's finally time to discuss Deepwoken's ultimate threat, the puppet master, the intruder, the monstrosity known as the Lord Regent. How did Regent come to rule Etris? How powerful is he? And above all, how can we possibly defeat him? Buckle in, because Vow of Iron has many secrets in store, and today I'll be breaking down the complete story of Vow of Iron, and exposing everything that it teaches us about Deepwoken's most diabolical villain. If you enjoy videos like these, be sure to subscribe, and lets me know that I should make more Deepwoken lore content in the future. Thanks in advance. I'd also like to credit the wonderful Ket Overkill for this video's thumbnail art. Please check them out in the official Deepwoken Discord. Thank you. With that out the way, let's get straight into the Lord Regent's past, present, and future. Now, I'll rip the band-aid off straight away. While generally known as the current interim ruler of Etris, Lord Regent's true identity is that of the fourth prophet of the Ministry. In case you don't know, the Ministry, which is Deepwoken's most evil faction chock full of drowned god worshippers, employs a prophet system to designate the 9 most important Ministry men and women. Lord Regent, real name Zaire, I won't be calling him that in this video, don't worry, is the fourth prophet. As prophets are ranked by strength, that leaves the Lord Regent as the 4th strongest man in the Ministry. This begs the question though, how on earth did a high-ranking member of the Ministry end up ruling over Etris? Well, to answer this, we'll have to travel 38 years into the past. Welcome to Vow of Iron, Deepwoken's newest hardcore game mode. Once upon a time, an infamous king of Etrian valiantly led his kingdom into peace and prosperity. This era of peace did not last long, though. Lumen is quick to stifle hope. King Roland Vashtir I reigned through the early 6th century CE and made quite a name for himself and Etrian on the world stage. As fate would sadly have it, he set off on a voyage with a small fleet of ships and never returned. Bookkeeper Andros, current-day librarian of Etris. The disappearance of King Vashtir I, while taking place centuries before the current day, was the first stone cast that would eventually result in the total destruction of Etris. The 6th century has nothing left for us though. Allow me to take you forward to 1233 CE, 38 years before current day, and the year wherein the tale of the Lord Regent begins. Coincidentally, this is also the year within which Vow of Iron is set. The purpose of Vow of Iron is to provide a hardcore Deepwoken experience, so why choose to travel back a mere 38 years before current day? Why not travel back to ancient times, which are no doubt far more chaotic? Well, that's because Vow of Iron has another purpose entirely: to expose the true power of the Lord Regent. You've already heard me mention that Vow of Iron is set in the past, but that raises the question of how we travel back to the past in the first place. The truth of our time travel is that we're not time traveling at all. Rather, we play through someone else's memories through a vessel known as a memento. In-game, a memento takes the form of a specific build that your progression is bound to, but in the lore, a memento is actually a tag worn by members of the Circle of Honor. It's assumed that members of the Circle who pass away then have their memories and abilities stored within the memento, allowing you to experience the past through their eyes. As for what the Circle of Honor actually is, It's a mysterious organization made up of the most powerful men and women across Lumen. We literally don't know much more than that, besides the fact that they're the main force standing against the Lord Regent. We, our character, are known as the Inheritor, and we're guided by the Reclaimer of the Recollection, whatever that means. Our goal is to retrace the steps taken by the original owners of each memento and reach the end of our memory. Where do these memories always end? The Lord Regent. This is the Vow of Iron this game mode is named after, a bond forged with mementos made from iron. Why? All will be revealed in due time, my friend. Regardless of what memento you choose, you must retrace the steps taken by the previous holder of the memories that you're playing through, and the Reclaimer of the Recollection will always point you towards the Monastery of Myrrh. Lying in wait for you within the monastery is the Shogun, the first boss you'll fight in Vow of Iron. Upon besting the Shogun, you're pointed towards the domain of the Golden Rat, wherein you'll have to defeat the Rat King. Why? Well, perhaps now would be a good time to comment on the state of Etris 38 years ago. By the time of Vow of Iron, Etris has been gripped by civil war, and it now burns so fiercely that the resulting smoke blots out the sun. It's not long before you're informed as to why the Etrian civil war is waging in the first place. An intruder has taken over Etris, slaughtered the previous ruler, and sealed himself behind a seemingly impenetrable magical seal. This intruder is, of course, the one and only Lord Regent, and he refuses to budge from his throne. Etris burns because the nation's 4 major clans have banded together to wage war against Regent's forces, and you find the leader of each clan holed up inside the Golden Rat Tavern, bickering about what to do next. It appears as if they will be wholly unable to slay Regent themselves. Thus, it's up to you. However, a nearby NPC who was also present in the Golden Rat, named High Monk Junsui, is willing to reveal just how Lord Regent stole the throne of Etris. How did the Civil War start? His gaze turns to the middle distance as blazing recollections seem to dance before his weary eyes. Regent's coup. It was not a bloodless affair as some might have you think. He stormed the royal palace at night with a group of guards loyal to him. Those who would later become his shoguns, twisted beyond their mortal coil. He slaughtered any resistance in cold blood and murdered Lord Guardian Jiang. Once he seized the throne of Etria, he placed a mental veil on the population of the city. Etris carried on as nothing had happened. Everyone thought that the Lord Regent had been ruler for years the following morning. And the veil only affected the city. Junsui nods. Yes. When the great clans learned of this usurpation, they rose up in open rebellion, denouncing the coup. Regent could shape the memories of Etris, but he was, and remains, too weak to affect the rest of the kingdom. It would take an impossible amount of power to impose the veil on every Etrian citizen in the east. The Etrians in the city knew the cause of the civil war at first. It was a fresh wound in the people's memory, but now, I'm told he's eroded even that. Is the veil getting stronger then? The High Monk hesitates for a moment. We are not sure exactly how, but his power grows, if not in scope, then in focus. 14 years ago, the people of Etris knew that we fought to oppose the Lord Regent's ascendance to the throne. Now they think the old guard are just a gaggle of rebellious lords, or worse, scheming usurpers, unhappy with taxation and new laws. Thanks to him, our cause has been reduced to that of lowly bandits in the mind of our people. Should we lose the war, we might be erased from history altogether. And then the truth will be whatever Regent desires it to be. This is why we've been sent into the past. We're here to find a way to defeat Lord Regent by reliving mementos of the fallen. The Reclaimer hopes that by seeing each memento to its conclusion, we will discover any weaknesses that Regent has. These will hopefully help defeat him in the current day. However, we have to reach Regent first. Unfortunately, there's no penetrating that gigantic green shield bubble from the outside. This is where the Rat King comes back into play. Turns out that the Rat King knows of a way to get inside, for some reason. Don't question it, this video is long enough as it is, but he won't give it up unless we beat him in combat. Well, I'm sure you can guess what happens. We beat him in combat. We meet the Rat King's soul in the boundary, the midway point between depths and the surface, and he reveals that the only way for us to get inside Regent's barrier is to end ourselves. Well, only partly. You see, the barrier may be impenetrable from the outside, but we can resurface on the inside by sinking down to the depths and then by escaping and beating the trial. The only catch, we'll only be able to choose where to resurface by making a deal with the voices of the depths, so the plan hinges on that. Okay, well the voices say no. So you're immediately attacked by the one and only Voice of Enmity. Defeat Enmity and the voices will allow you to resurface within Regent's shield, allowing you to confront him for the first and final time. You'd probably assume that the Lord Regent boss fight, the last boss fight in Vow of Iron, would be a closely fought cinematic dogfight where both sides come out heavily injured and it's cinematic and things like that. But instead, Regent toys with you. It's not even remotely close. You'll be ripped apart by less than 4 attacks, and it's near impossible to even touch him. Once you actually break his throne, Regent chooses to engage you one-on-one, and it finally becomes possible for you to finally damage him. It's upon damaging Regent that you come to a horrifying realization. The memory ends. The memento fades to nothing when you finally hit Lord Regent. There's no health bar, no cutscene, nothing. Vow of Iron has ended. By actually striking Regent, you've surpassed the memories of your memento. You've done something the original memento holders couldn't. The memory you've been playing through fades to nothingness. There are no more further memories. Why? Because Lord Regent instantly killed every memento holder before they could even scratch him. There are no memories containing Regent's weaknesses because not a single member of the Circle could even touch him. You stood no chance to begin with. And this isn't it either. Regent may be even stronger than this. As I'm sure some of you know, Regent's throne significantly boosts his power level, and it's been previously insinuated that this coral throne allows him to maintain his mind veil over Etrian. However, in our short clash with Regent, we seemingly break his throne, but he seems completely unfazed. If anything, he gets even stronger, which doesn't even make any sense. Well, it does, but only if you analyze how Regent brings you to his boss arena in the first place. Before you're teleported to the boss fight with Regent, his instant grip animation plays. Your fight with Regent isn't even real. Regent killed the members of the Circle before they could even start a fight. That's the level of power we're dealing with here. In fact, Regent may have even tampered with each memento upon killing each member of the Circle. He has memory-altering powers, which we see manifested in his mind veil. It's possible that Regent sabotaged the mementos to prevent anyone, like you, from attempting to scout for his weaknesses. During this whole trip to the past, we've been under Regent's thumb. The whole time. Just to clarify, some members of the Circle include Saint J, yes, he's strong enough that he has a whole talent named after him, and Warden Jericho of the Authority at some point. This is the caliber of fighter the Circle has in the ranks, and Regent essentially dusted all of them simultaneously, without taking one drop of damage, and no throne. However strong you thought this guy was, I mean, Deepwoken power scaling isn't to be taken seriously as updates are never created with it in mind, but I feel like Regent might as well just be our first exception. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the Shoguns we fight in boss battles, yeah, turns out that Regent can just morph his followers into Shoguns at will, so enjoy fighting thousands of Shoguns while trying to deal with the Regent throwing contracted tentacles at you. No wonder our Maestro's reluctant to clash with him, let alone fight the Authority straight after. Long story short, this is where Vow of Iron wraps up. I haven't covered every minuscule detail in this video, but this is as good as you're going to get if you're looking for a general recap. I suggest playing through Vow of Iron for yourself, good luck with that, and reading through the paragraphs of optional dialogue that Nactagonus generally handed to us this update. If you want to come away from this video with one conclusion, please don't underestimate the Lord Regent, because this guy will destroy you. Regardless, that's me done for today. Stay safe, be well, remember to subscribe. Much love.